Hello, families, and welcome to art. My name is Sherry Altieri, and I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade art at Unionville Middle School. And I've been at Unionville for 14 years, but I've also split some time at the high school. I've also been at LMS. I have also been at Vale Farm Elementary School. So it's very possible that you have seen me in your travels or have heard of me. Welcome. I'm so excited that your child is taking art with me this year. Starting on Monday, your child will have art every day from now until the end of the year. So exciting. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our class and some expectations I have, and hopefully answer some questions that maybe you didn't even know you had. So my philosophy as an art teacher is that anyone can create art. Yes, it takes practice. Yes, mistakes happen, but that's how we learn. Art is not that different than music or sports. You have someone who gives you a couple tips, then you practice, and slowly over time you get better and better and better. That is our art process as well. I know some techniques that will make art easier for everyone, and I'm here to share those techniques with you and your children. It's not magic. There is a lot that they will learn in art class. I also believe that art is more than visual art. Art can be many things. It can be music, dance, cooking, fashion, construction, etc. A lot of families tell me that their child loves art, but they're not an artist. But then you go on to tell me how you love to bake and decorate cupcakes, or how you take apart cars, or you decorate your home. There's so many different creative outlets. Whenever you're creating something that wasn't there before, guess what? You're making art, and you are an artist too. So share that passion for things that you love to create, design, explore with your child. My goals are to help your child find their lifelong passion in the arts. We kind of approach art this year like a buffet. We're going to try a lot of things. And if your child finds one thing that they love that will continue in their life, then I have done my job. I also take creative problem solving very seriously. I use every opportunity I can in the art room to help your child develop their creative problem solving skills, because part of my job is preparing your child to succeed in the 21st century. But I don't know what the future is going to be like. It's also very possible that your child will embark on a career or a passion that doesn't even exist yet. So how can we get them ready for that? We are going to get them ready by developing creative problem solving skills. So no matter what comes at them, they can approach it with an open mind, and they can look for all different possible solutions to these problems. I also want to expose your child to the wider world of art and other cultures and ideas through the arts. And on Wednesday, we're going to be exploring some of my favorite artists. And I hope that you take a peek and maybe get some new art ideas of your own. I also use the arts to help your child build their confidence. Middle school is a rough time, let's be honest. And sometimes our middle schoolers don't like being unique. So we can celebrate the uniqueness through the arts, and then slowly start to bring that uniqueness and celebration of uniqueness into their own lives, so they can discover how wonderful and fabulous they are. This year, I've also revamped my curriculum, and I've been focusing on creating art as a means of stress reduction. So throughout many of our art making days, I'm going to be talking to your children about how they can use art making as a way to reduce stress. Some of us meditate, some of us are athletic or exercise, some of us do yoga, but art making can be another form of stress reduction, where you can clear your mind and really just take a break and take a deep breath. I'm also going to try as much as possible to have your child work without looking at the screen. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Yes, they have to be on a Google Meet, but I'm hoping that they're looking down and they're actually working on a physical work of art instead of working on the computer. My expectations for the Google Meets is that the cameras are on. I do need to be able to see your child working on their art. I don't necessarily have to see their face the entire time, but if I can see that they're working on their art and can communicate with them, I'll be able to give them feedback. We do daily art progress check-ins where I ask your child to hold up their artwork and show me their progress on the screen. Everybody does this. It's not an opportunity for me to single anybody out. It's really just an opportunity for me as a teacher to adjust my pacing as necessary. And this is no different than what I would do in the art room. I walk around and I conference individually and I see who is working a little faster, who maybe needs a challenge, who maybe needs a little bit more time and some tips. It's the same thing that I do in the art room. Your child also needs a professional setting for creating art. We don't need anything fancy, but as long as they have some kind of hard surface to work on, they will be fine. I say that also because I've had a couple students trying to make art in their bed. That's not a professional setting. They do need some kind of hard surface. Even if it's just a clipboard to work on, they should be seated and they should have a hard professional work surface. I will be giving everybody an art supply kit to keep at home. So you don't need to buy anything for art class, and your child will have an art supply kit that they keep right next to their professional setting. I also expect that on the Google Meets, everyone is polite, we're equitable, we're respectful, and most importantly, that your child is respectful of themselves and positive about themselves. Art takes time. Mistakes happen. Mistakes are encouraged. So part of building our confidence is really maintaining that positive attitude and respect of ourselves as artists and individuals who have a process that doesn't always go as planned. And if we keep working at it, will be amazing in the end. Supplies I started to touch on. Your child will receive an art supply kit from me. They do not need to purchase anything, and the art supply kits can stay home. If your child is in the blue or maroon cohort, they can keep their art supplies at home when they come into school. I have extras of everything at school so they can work with that. The only thing our blue and maroon cohort students will need to bring in is their artwork that they're working on. So they will need to bring their actual artwork to class, and I will try to make sure it's nice and small or foldable so they can keep it in an envelope that I will give them in their backpack. I am going to ask that your child return everything in the supply kit except the sketchbook at the end of June. They can absolutely keep their sketchbook, and you better ask them to see what they've been creating because they don't always show you, but we make things every day and you're going to love what they create. If your child is in the green cohort, the supply kits are in the UVMS lobby. They've been alphabetized. Please try and make arrangements to pick up the art supply kits before the end of the day on Friday, February 5th. And if you can't, just reach out to me via email and I am happy to help. If your child is not in the green cohort but might be remote for a little while, just let me know privately and I can arrange to drop off some supplies to them so they don't stress out because they don't have any supplies the first few weeks. I'm flexible. As far as grading and assessments go in the art, your child will receive a number grade in art, just like every other class. Their assignments are posted in Google Classroom, and every day I have demonstration videos, I have slideshows that they can access if they need to for reminders or just to go back and check things. The final averages are posted in Parent Portal for you. I do try to update Parent Portal so you can see what they're working on and see their grades in there. There is no homework for art class, so your child doesn't need to be working on any art at night or on the weekends. All work is done during the class period, including photographing our artwork, submitting artwork. We even have extra studio days if anybody needs to catch up. The only time your child might be doing art at home is if they forgot their artwork for some reason when they were in class. They might be catching up at home. When your child submits their artwork for me to grade, I always allow redos. I will give them feedback. It's often in the form of verbal feedback that I record. And they can always go back and redo anything if they feel like they needed a little bit more time, or maybe they just want to add something else, or maybe they got a really great idea. I'm not going to accept late work. And here's why. I'm currently grading some work from about 8 weeks ago. And I talked to some of the students who are submitting their work super late, and they admitted to me that they've been watching video games or distracted during class. And now they're really overwhelmed because they're spending nights and weekends doing their artwork or any other work that they're catching up on. And that's really overwhelming for your child. I don't want your child to be in that position where they feel like they have to catch up at night and on the weekends. As an adult, I'm having a very difficult time staying organized working online. So I can't imagine what it's like for your middle school child. My job is to try and help your child work during our class time. So when the end of the day comes, they don't have any extra work hanging over them. They can go outside. They can relax. The weekends are their time. I don't want to give them any homework for art, but that means that they do have to work during their art class. Of course, if your child is absent or something's going on and they contact me, I will gladly give them an extension. I also always let them do redos. So if they don't quite finish and they submit it, they can just redo it, and I will always raise the grade for a redo. Their grade will never go down if they add or change something in their artwork. So grades, how do we grade in art? Often when we were younger, we would get our art assignments back and there would be a random number grade on the back, and we had no idea how we got that grade. So one of the things that I really try to focus on is the studio habits of art. These are 8 habits that I think apply not only to art, but to life in general. And by thinking of the studio habits, it helps me focus my assessment. And it's something that I share with your child whenever I'm grading. There's always rubrics. And just to give you an example, here's the 8 studio habits. Things like developing craft, working on a material or technique over and over again, engaging and persisting, learning not to give up, to keep at it, envisioning, coming up with ideas, expressing their ideas, observing the world around them, reflecting on what they've done to celebrate their successes, stretching and exploring and challenging themselves, and understanding the broader community around them. These are the areas, the 8 areas that I use when I'm assessing your child. I feel like these areas are really important, not just for the art world, but they're really great habits your child can develop to become a more successful, happier individual. Here's a sample of the rubric that your child might see online. These are posted on Google Classroom, and when I grade, I make sure to mark what category they're in. And if they want to redo anything, they can absolutely read the rubric and they can go back and redo any category that they feel like they need to maybe just expand on a little bit or develop a little bit more. I'll also say that any child who creates artwork is going to do really well in art class. Check Google Classroom. A lot of students don't always realize that in Google Classroom, under the Classwork tab, there is text that says view your work. This is probably very helpful for you to make sure your child knows. I've spoken to so many students who don't realize you can click on the view your work text under the Classwork tab of Google Classroom. This will show them all of their assignments that are graded, that are missing, that are coming up. And in the Classwork tab, I also have lots and lots of videos. I have lots of resources for your child if they ever need additional help or want to go back and review. And this is if you're watching the screen, there's just a little image of the Classwork tab, and these are some examples. A lot of students don't realize, again, that the text is clickable text. When you click on the text in the Google Classroom, it will bring up lots of attachments, including demonstration videos, slideshows, and this is across the board for every teacher. So it's not just a list, even though it looks like a list when you go on there, but encourage your child to actually click on those lists to see more information if they need it. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but just so you know, we don't have a regular 8th grade art class at Unionville Middle School. The 8th grade art classes we do offer are accelerated art classes. And I bring that up because I do speak to some of your children about that. Actually, I speak to all of your children about that. And especially if you have a 7th grade artist, they will get the opportunity to apply for 8th grade accelerated art this year, which means that they will select some of their favorite artworks and they will submit it to me online. 8th grade accelerated art is actually a high school level art class. So upon successful completion, your child would receive a half high school credit. And for most children, it usually replaces their 8th grade study hall. So I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you hear your child talking about 8th grade accelerated art, or if they're applying for 8th grade accelerated art, you'll know a little bit about why. We do have 4 classes right now of 8th grade accelerated art. So most students who take the time to fill out the application do get in, but they do have an application they have to fill out. My 6th graders, I often encourage them to start thinking about if they want to take an 8th grade accelerated art class and to save their artwork. So if they do decide to apply, their artwork will be very accessible to them. Please stay in touch with me. I am here to help in any way I can. You can always email me at saltieri@acsdny.org. You can also text me at my Google number, 845-723-1310, and I'm always happy to help out in any way I can. Thank you for your support of the arts. I'm so honored to take this journey with you and your child, and I promise your child is going to love art. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to learn a few things along the way. Thank you.